What up, YouTube? You already know. Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou NFCR2. Baby. First time you come to the channel, be highly appreciated if you hit that subscribe, like, and share the channel with your family, friends, folks, peoples, gente, buddies, pals, amigos, and like us Puertorriqueños, Ibaritos, Boricuas, Portorros, Panas, Vaya. So how you do that is you hit that subscribe button. Then you go to the bell notification, hit that button, bing, and then it'll show up all, and select that, boom, and uh, you'll have a notification each and every time something is dropped from the channel. If it's a pre-recorded video like this here, shorts, or or a live stream video. So some of you guys are probably wondering who that is in the thumbnail. That is ex Los Angeles County Sheriff Alejandro Villanueva, aka Alex Villanueva. He was the 33rd elective sheriff of Los Angeles County, and he's the first elected sheriff to defeat the incumbent sheriff in over 100 years. He was prior to him becoming and being voted in as LA County Sheriff, he was a lieutenant in the ranks chain of command of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. He was in office as the 33rd sheriff from December 3rd, 2018 till December 5th, 2022. He was preceded by Jim McDonald, and he was succeeded by Robert Luna, who was the former police chief of Long Beach. So this guy is born in Chicago in 1963. He's a Democrat, a registered Democrat. The reason I bring that up is because he is lined up with more conservative policies, right? Which there's nothing wrong with that. The reason why I'm making this video is because I seen him recently in a documentary, but the numbers and everything they were stating in the documentary wasn't lining up with numbers of today. Then I realized it was an older video. And he no longer was in office. And one of the things that he said that really struck me that I definitely didn't agree with at all, because I've been in the system. I've been around guys that have been struck out 3 strikes law with some very petty stuff. And we're doing 25 to life in accordance with that law, right? And he stated that the 3 strike laws definitely worked. And I'm here in this video to tell y'all that it didn't work. So I'm going to break it down a little bit more. So this guy was his military career. He was obviously in the United States. He was in the Air Force, and he was also the United States Air Force and the California Air National Guard and California Army National Guard from 1983 to 1993. He was ranked first lieutenant. And like I mentioned previously, he was ranked a lieutenant in the Sheriff's Department of LA, and then ran for sheriff and became a sheriff. So when you run, that's elected position. So you don't necessarily have to go, deputy to deputy sergeant to lieutenant to captain, and then on up like you would in the police department. So he was elected from, like I said, lieutenant to sheriff. He's the first member of the Democratic Party to be elected sheriff in 138 years. Villanueva campaigned as a reformer and appealed to some progressive values, but has received notoriety for more conservative policies during his tenure, as well as high levels of corruption. Villanueva lost his bid for re-election in 2022 by a wide margin of 61% to 38%. And he lost to former Long Beach Police Chief Robert Luna. So let me give you a little breakdown of the 3 strike law. Okay, dating back California, 1994, 1993-ish, 94. There was a little girl that was abducted right out of her bedroom window by her, and I believe she had some friends over that were sleeping over. Her name was Polly Klaas. Okay, at the time, the governor of California was Pete Wilson. Polly Klaas's father was Mark Klaas, and Mark Klaas joined with Pete Wilson and they went around the state of California, speaking about what happened to his daughter, and proposal for a new law to be uh, voted in from California as a three-strike law. At the same time, on the federal level, it was being pushed as well from President Clinton, Hillary Clinton, President Joe Biden, um, other Democrats. I want to say, obviously, Dick Durbin was there then. Patrick Leahy was there then. I'm not really sure where Joe, the guy Lieberman, Joe Lieberman. I'm not sure where his position was on this at that time, but they had a big backing by the Democrats, and also Jerry Brown was big against on the three strikes as well. But as time evolved, and you know people learned from their mistakes on what they shouldn't have done, they realized later that it was not a good idea, right? Okay, so let me break down. Let me give you a little history on the three strike law, California. The three strike law was written. Well, let me give you a little background more first of what happened. So, the little girl was abducted. Some point during that night, the night that she was taken, I don't know if there were city cops or if there were Petaluma, excuse me, Sonoma County sheriffs, but they approached somebody that was car was stuck. This individual was David Allen Greer. I think that was his name, David Allen Greer. Let me make sure because I don't want to give the wrong name. I know David Allen. No, excuse me, David Allen Greer is the comedian. David Allen Dave. Oh, let me check. Sorry about that. Let me see because I can't remember his name. I want to be sure here. Um, let's see. Polyclass. Yeah, it was 93 when she got abducted, October. Richard Allen Davis. Gosh, I can't believe I got that all wrong like that. Sorry about that, peoples. But yeah, so she was abducted October of 93. So I knew it was, but the three strike law was written in effect in 94. Okay, so this individual, Richard Allen Davis, is currently on death row. Um, he was convicted of her murder in 1996. So what happened, and this dude had priors already. He already had a sex, uh, assault S charge. I know YouTube be tripping, so let me watch what I say. He already had one in the past. He already had been to prison. He had prison terms and all that. Um, at some point in that during that night, he was. I don't know if it was before he committed this crime or after. Doesn't matter because the cops were screwed up because they should have ran. At that time of the night, being in the middle of nowhere, getting stopped. I mean, nowadays, I just got jacked up yesterday just for running my dogs out in the country. You know what I mean? 2 weeks prior to that, I got jacked up for just sitting in my car eating lunch. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand how they dropped the ball on this. How they were able to get fooled. So anyways, he don't get his name ran. Nothing. Matter of fact, they even helped him get his car from being stuck. Right? It was stuck in dirt or mud or something. So at some point, he went through the window of the class household and took her, abducted her, and then he could have had her in the car or he could have had her nearby somewhere. Um, they dropped the ball, like I said. So her father, Paulie Class's father, was Mark Class, and the family were traveling up and down the state of California, pushing for the three strike law to be voted in, and then Governor Pete Wilson to sign it into law. Okay, the law was written for serious and violent offenses. Obviously, violent offenses would be murder, attempted murder, manslaughter, uh, vehicular manslaughter, assault with a deadly weapon causing bodily injury, um, uh, mayhem, things of that nature, right? Violent type of armed robberies, home invasions, things like that, right? Okay, serious crimes are obviously the R word, right? Against women, even against men, women, and of course children. Any funny, weird stuff with children. Those were the two main. Those were the two reasons why that law was written into effect. But the law wasn't written. You never, you especially what's been going on now. What they got court TV and all that stuff. You'll hear things that a motion was filed and the judge denied it or accepted it on the grounds of the language, right? The language in the dissent, the language in the motion, the language in the rebuttal or whatever. So it came down to the language in the law. So what they ended up doing was you got a lot of the guys that end up having charges for breaking in and like residential burglaries from years ago in the 70s and even the 60s, early 80s. Might not have been in trouble for 10, 15, 20 years, and then they came back for like a possession of crack cocaine, possession of a dime bag of heroin, uh, you know a quarter gram of some speed, whatever, and they were getting struck out, given 25 to life. Uh, you had other guys on the third final strike, they would strike them out on any felony, something like even just breaking a window, felony vandalism, petty theft with a prior, taking some jeans from a store. They would strike them out. I met numerous guys in my years that I've done time in the pen. I met numerous guys that shouldn't have been in there for what they were struck out on. And then you were talking about guys that have been down already 15, 18, 20, 24 years for a three-strike law because they got caught stealing some food or they got caught taking a couple pairs of jeans. And this is serious. I'm being serious about that. That's why nowadays not many people get struck out no more in the state of California unless it's one of those heinous, serious crimes or violent crimes. So in my opinion, no, three-strike law didn't work because all it did was just filled up the prison system, where you're talking about a prison system that held maybe 100,000. We're sitting at about 180,000. And those were just counting the prisons, the 33 prisons, not counting the fire camps and the CC what do they call them? Man, I can't think of the name. CCFs, the correctional California correctional facilities, CCFs. They're level ones, little dorms. Uh, though they didn't count the population of any of those, and they didn't count the population of the fire camps. And you had two prisons uh, at the time. You had Jamestown, you had Susanville. Susanville would be all the northern camps for fighting fires, and Jamestown would be all for all the southern camps that were fighting fires. That's where they would get their training from, their physical training, their PTF training, and it just got overwhelming. Where like guys that were really sick. This is why the population got trimmed down. Federally speaking, the Fed said, no, you got to do something about this, because you had legitimate guys that were sick, very sick in California Department of Corrections, that because of the overcrowding and the way the system worked as far as when it comes to medical, they weren't getting the attention they needed. And people that really didn't need attention to see a doctor or a nurse, if they're on the outs where they can just go to the drugstore and buy whatever, cough drops, cough syrup, or whatever like that, because of the way the system was designed, everybody, it worked for everybody the same way. Therefore, it just, a lot of people were dying and not getting the treatment in a timely fashion. And that's what caused that. But like I said, the three-strike law did not work. Um, if they would have stuck to the script, stuck to the script of what it was designed for, yeah, they did get a lot of those guys. But then they added to it, and it all just became a game because at the end of the day, when a district attorney or even a assistant district attorney, when they want to run for attorney, a district attorney spot or a run for a judge, they just run off their victories, right? There's nothing there that shows, well, they got they sent over 1,500 guys to prison for life, or and they sent another 1,000 to do 20 years or more, and they sent 500 to do 15 years. And they sent 250 to do you know 25 plus. And they sent thousands and thousands to do 10 years. It doesn't work like that. It's all about winning percentages. That's what makes the records look good, not the amount of time. Of course, certain cases, if they got certain cases that on their caseload that were more nationwide than others, of course they would get that that fame for that, and it would be recognized as they go up the ladder, so to speak, in the criminal justice avenue. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, this case did not work at all. I mean, this law did not work at all. Uh, that's why they refrained from it now using it, and that's why also that the federal system needs to be reformed as well. Um, because there's way too many guys that are doing a gang of time for some marijuana charges and even drug charges. I don't just because I don't think people deserve to get all that time like that because they were selling dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, was it wrong? Did it mess up their areas, their communities? Of course, but do they really deserve to be doing 50 to 100 years for that? I don't think so. Especially a lot of people have made big changes. You know what I'm saying? And it's only obvious in their conduct. You know what I'm saying? To go out of your way to take classes and all that when when you got a decent mind, sensible mind. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that is that like the story I did the other day on Sandra Cantu. The lady that committed the crime. Admittedly, she was suffering from mental health, and so probably now she's been down already. She's been down about 14, 15 years in prison. She's probably been in prison for about 10 or 12. She's probably running around doing every program she can. Um, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense why she did what she did. Because she was bipolar and I think something else. I can't remember right now. But where did that 8-year old little girl come in to be a threat at any way, shape, or form to her? So I mean, until they get down to the bottom of that, I mean, I don't even think the ladies, you know, no matter what she's been doing in there, really would count towards freedom, and definitely not after only 14, 15 years. Um, I mean, you're talking about killing an innocent baby. You know what I'm saying? Just like Polly Klatt, just because she was a couple years older. There's no different there. This little girl was just sleeping in her bed, minding her own business, with no care in the world, whole life ahead of her. You know what I'm saying? And this weirdo came in there and took it from her. You know what I mean? It's just it's a I don't even know how to put it in words. Some of these type of cases, and these are what the law was written for. You know what I mean? Like I said. So just a little food for thought on the three strike law. Um, Definitely like to hear people's input, what they think, their perspective. Um, and I got a few more videos coming. This weather's so weird. It was so cold. Then it became so sunny, and now it's getting a little windy again, and it's getting a little gloomy again. Yesterday started raining out of nowhere. Um, I mean, excuse me, earlier today. Excuse me. We were on our way to go take them out to go run, and it started pouring, and it ruined that. So I got to figure out what we're gonna do. Well, I'm gonna wait a little while and see if it goes down and stays this way, and then we'll end up going out there to our spot. So with that being said, Big Lou, tapping on out.